call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Roa.
Here.
Donahue.
Here.
Battaglia.
Here.
Mangelo Bittner. Here. Stearns.
Here. If you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you have a cell phone, an iPad, or an iWatch, if you would mute it, I'll try to remind you to turn your cell phones back on after the meeting. Katie, we have meeting notices, please.
June 19th, 2019, there was an executive session to discuss real estate and litigation.
Approval of the minutes, please. Motion.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call.
Roa.
Aye.
Donahue.
Aye.
Battaglia.
Aye.
Mangelo Bittner. Stearns.
Aye. I'm going to actually turn this over to Andy. Andy, if you'd like to introduce our guest, I appreciate that.
So, Your Honor and Counsel, with us this evening in red is Agathe Vigneault, who is from Fiume, France. And so we are pleased to have Agathe here. She's here for about a 3-week period, but in continuation of our sister city relationship with Fiume, France, obviously a delegation from Meadville went to Fiume last fall to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the close of World War I. And what was really the start of our relationship, then when troops from Meadville helped to liberate Fiume. And this is the first year we hope to continue this. So for about 8 years running, Allegheny College has sent two Allegheny students to Fiume for a multi-week internship, exposure, doing different projects with the community. And this time, this is our first where we're welcoming Agathe to join us here. She's staying with various members of the delegation. She's been working here at the city building on all of our materials and history and artifacts from our relationship of inventorying them and sort of telling a story. She's met with Natalie Stearns, who is the French teacher at Meadville High School, and who is working on a curriculum development around our sister city relationship and the history with Fiume. And then next week she'll be with Allegheny College on working on some projects there. So. Welcome again.
Again, if you don't mind coming up, we have a small gift to give you. First of all, you're going to go home with, under door number one, this is going to be a small flag that you can,
It's upside down.
that you can take to your dorm when you get back to Fiume.
Yeah.
And then this is a book that we presented to the guests in France that we wanted to give you a copy.
Okay, thank you.
So, you're more than welcome to meet counsel. They can introduce themselves.
Jim Hill, Jim Rowe.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
Oh, and this is John Battaglia.
Sean Don.
Nice to meet you.
Love the pin. Yes. Thank you. And welcome to Meadville. We have another guest, a couple guests that I'd like to introduce. The Martin Luther King Mentoring Program received a grant announcement. And I'll read just a part of it, and then I'm going to ask some of the board members if they'd like to say some things. The Martin Luther King Scholarship Fund was awarded a 21st Century Community Learning Center grant by the Pennsylvania Department of Education in support of under the Martin Luther King Mentoring Program. It is a 5-year grant that begins this July 1st with fundings of $97,980 a year, which is almost $500,000. And that's pretty impressive to get that type of a grant over a 5-year period. So, Joe, I'm going to kind of let you take it from there. And congratulations, you guys did a phenomenal job on that.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and Council. It's our great pleasure to speak to you this evening about this proposed 21st TCLC program through the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Mentoring Program, Pennsylvania 21st Century Community Learning Center, in participation with Allegheny College and Crawford Central School District. In the 9-year history of the mentoring program, there has been an average of 33% of the participants make the honor roll each quarter over that 9 years, and an average 3% making high honor roll. The attendance is held at about 75%. Now, most of you, if you're involved in civic organizations or any organization at all, to have a participation of 75% from anything is pretty great. And with regard to these students, this is something that they are spending all day in school and then choosing, without being required, to spend an additional time in that school. That's how valuable they feel this program has been to them. So looking at what we had in place for 9 years, and then looking at the Pennsylvania 21st Century Community Learning Center since it's cohort 9, we know we want Pennsylvania's ideal program here for our students at risk of failing, of dropping out of school, of not having the skills to be successful students, and therefore successful adults. So towards that end, we sought and have been invited to begin this process, as the mayor said, of becoming this Pennsylvania 21st Century Community Learning Center. So the mission is to strengthen the academic and personal development of middle school students, empowering them with opportunities for lifelong success. The program operates Monday through Thursday, 3:30 p.m. until 6:30 p.m. at the Meadville area middle school. And each day, there's transportation home. In addition, there's transportation to other sites where students are engaged in programming. There's also an added component now of parental involvement through facilitation from our partners at the United Way and Crawford County Human Services that we'll be talking a little bit more in here in just a minute. Together, we will work with parents as to identification of services in the school and community and how they may help their children. Furthermore, the program will continue to embrace its collaborators and stakeholders in the community. Now, as the mayor inferred, we are very, very pleased that we were selected for this amount, $97,980 per year over this 5-year period, to operate the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Mentoring Program, Pennsylvania 21st Century Community Learning Center at the Meadville Middle School. I'm hoping that we don't have to order stationery to that. As Dr. Dixon, who we are proud to have lead us, has said, these students have promised need a corridor that leads to success. This program will extend the learning day for more students now, enabling them to become successful academically as they develop holistically. Now, what we believe caught the attention of the Pennsylvania Department of Education was this community buy-in to sustainable positive change. 9 years in growing for any grassroots civic engagement project is truly front-page news. What makes the mentoring program so special and successful is that instead of starting 3 standalone programs in their own image to accomplish essentially the same thing, Allegheny, Crawford Central, and MLK respected each other enough to acknowledge the fact that they needed each other to succeed, and each had a valuable piece to contribute. So we have thanks to Superintendent Washington and Mr. Lynch for their support in the endeavor to write the Pennsylvania 21st Century Grant. And Mr. Lynch, do you want to talk a little bit about Crawford Central's provision to this at this point?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Council, Mayor. Thank you for this opportunity to share with you the great opportunity we have via Dr. Dixon, the Martin Luther King Jr. Board, as well as Allegheny College, the collaborators with Crawford Central School District. What we do at Meadville area middle schools, we provide the space for the program to happen. This was a vision that Dr. Dixon had 9 years ago. She approached the former superintendent, and it developed from there. So it's housed in the Meadville area middle school. We provide a room. There's also a snack after school to help them get through the 3 hours. We also assist and support with the academic piece of it as well. We involve our teachers, get input from them. We communicate with them, which now we've gone one-to-one, so it's easier for Dr. Dixon and others to find out what the homework is. We also provide the transportation piece, the alignment of the transportation, so that they can get home after the program. In addition to that, we provide the data and information that's necessary and needed to show the progression of the program, whether you're talking about the attendance, the grades, those types of things. So we provide that to them as well. But more importantly, it's really about providing our students an opportunity to grow socially, emotionally, academically, and to get prepared for their career and beyond after their high school years. So we're very fortunate and proud and honored to be able to have this program in our school and in our district. So that's the part on Crawford Central's end of it. So thank you again for letting us speak tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. And again, this is truly a community collaborative effort. And some of our other partners, some partners that we've had in the past, some that we're adding now through the auspice of the state joining in with us. We have Miss Jamie Ferry from Drugs and Alcohol, Miss Kelsey Kincaid from the agency. They help create opportunities for personal empowerment with the students. Miss Eileen Mullen, the director of the K through 12 Alliance, will help facilitate the workforce career readiness, college readiness unit. And again, there's so much emphasis, and rightly so, on the fact that some students may choose college as a path after high school, and some will want to enter the workforce, and this workforce in this area needs it. And so from that standpoint, this will be another avenue that the MLK mentoring program will help to be able to take these students now in middle school and help prepare them for that. Ms. Shana Morrison, violent prevention educator from Women's Services, and she'll teach our students nonviolent communication for success. Ms. Paula Gregory, a certified treatment specialist, will teach sessions on tobacco control. And Ms. Mickey Salasco, it's CASSP coordinator, and that acronym stands for, Shana, I'm sorry. That acronym, the CCASP stands for,
Those are dealing with students
in foster.
who need a lot of support.
Right. So that will facilitate the parental involvement in that program. Mr. Mark Feely, horticulturalist from Earth's Conservation Seeds, will lead the students through most interesting science experience. And then there are many projects. Tyler Duck from the Meadville Tribune will teach the students about being a reporter. Dr. Nowak, the art teacher, Mr. Hyatt, Mr. Schreiber, Mr. Freisinger, art infusions. Commissioner John Amato will teach U.S. flag etiquette. And then the students will meet several people in their neighborhood who impact their lives. Mayor Leroy Stearns has spoken to them in the past and will speak again this year. Commissioner Christopher Soft. And then they have to deal with the bad side. I'll be talking to them again. And so they see that there's ups and downs to things. And Mr. Lon Wilson from the area shopper will be there. So it's a great it's a great lineup for them. And we do have a partnership with the Meadville Recreational Complex. And as Dr. Dixon says, we thank everybody from this Meadville beloved community for making this happen. And towards that end, we would like, part of the reason for coming here tonight, through the auspice of Armstrong, is to announce that there'll be an orientation on Tuesday, July 30th from 6 to 7 at the middle school commons. And this will help to tell the students about the 21st Century Grant, about the mentoring program. And the thing being is, thanks to the auspice of this grant, we've been able to expand it a little bit to the students that could be involved. But from this standpoint, we want to let the students, their families, their grandparents, aunts, uncles, those individuals that will see the value for this program to be able to get these students oriented to it and aware of it so they can sign up for it for the upcoming year. So in conclusion, our presence here at this meeting is to underscore Dr. Dixon's core tenet of the program, which, as we said before, is Meadville as the beloved community. My own feeling is that it not only embodies Dr. King's dream for a better world, but also President Kennedy's charge, to paraphrase, not to ask what the city can do for us, but what we can do for the city. Mayor Stearns has graciously, as we said before, shared his time speaking to the students, as well as other key Meadville staff, describing in length how they were there to serve the students. Through key components of the curriculum, the students are ready and waiting to return that now in kind. Volumes of time and attention sometimes are spent lamenting what is perceived we are missing or lacking as a community. Perhaps it is now time to also acknowledge the mentoring program we have that most cities and school districts would give their IT to possess. After 9 years of continued growth and trajectory upwards, the mentoring program is now at the vanguard of becoming a model for what a school and a community should be. Towards that end, we are all in this triumph together, and the promise of a brighter future for our children in this area are at hand. And we thank you very much for the city's participation in this, and again, we're available really for any questions. The big thing that we want to, and again, Armstrong, as a community partner, will also be at that orientation for folks that may not be able to be there. But from that standpoint, we'll be able to understand that this is something that for middle school students should be at the top of their priority to get their students involved. So again, we thank you for your help with this and for your interest in it.
Well, congratulations on all the partnerships. It's great to go in and talk to the younger age group. Actually, they ask some pretty cool questions, put you on the spot quite a bit of the time, but your program's great. We've always supported it. We've all come to your events as much as we can. So we want to thank all your partnerships. But there's a young, she's hidden behind the, Dr. Dixon is hidden behind the podium. Thank you so much, dear, for everything that you do for the city of Meadville. People have no idea what all you do and how much love and support you give to the community.
I love you.
I wanted, Dr. Dixon has given me kind of the point on this there, and I would have ceded the floor immediately, because again, without Dr. Dixon and designing all this, as Mr. Lynch referred to earlier, there is none of this without Dr. Dixon.
And we appreciate it.
With regard to the parental aspect of it, did you have anything that you wanted to say also?
Please do. So I work with Women's Services, and we have been looking for parent groups, because a lot of prevention education is moving towards not only educating the kids, but educating their homes and the guardians who they live with and reside with. So with the parent program that's developing, everything that I'm going to be teaching in as part of the MLK program for the middle school students will be adapted so that parents are also getting similar information. They're going to learn about adverse childhood experiences, their kids' brain on fire when they're having arguments at home. They're going to learn about how to mitigate conflicts and really try to create a nonviolent community from the communication into action. And as we go and develop the parent program, there's going to be more and more people and partners coming in and providing programming that's in line with what their students are learning. So we're really excited about this opportunity.
And we're excited for the partnership for this. The state is very concerned that this be an aspect of this program, and we welcome your addition to it, and we believe that it'll be an important contribution to the community also.
Can we ask Armine to stand up? I'd like to say something to her.
There she is.
Yeah, we don't want you hidden. You are a valuable member of this community. Everywhere I go, anywhere there's an award being given, and you're silent, and you're in the back of the room, and you don't take any accolades. Just recently, you've been honored for some of these things. And I just think we need to point it out. Without you, this program would not be here. And you're to be commended for everything you do for this community. If we had more people like you, the world's the limit. So thank you for everything you do for this community.
Thank you.
We heartily agree.
Joe too. Joe does.
Well, not very Any other questions of us?
No, thank you for coming in tonight, and congratulations. That's a large number, $500,000 in grant to help our community.
Well, as I said, we will serve as a model. You're right, there aren't very many school districts or third-class cities that have something like this, and we look to share our gift with others.
You'll have our support. Thanks again. Andy, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
Your Honor, no one has signed in to speak on items on the agenda. Joe was our. Thank you. Sorry? Yeah, so we've had other folks that have come in after the meeting started. I don't know if anyone wants to speak. I suspect it's related to property maintenance concern that I talked to Dr. Fellow about via email about 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if you want to have that now or wait till the end of the meeting.
Counsel, would you mind if we just go ahead and have her speak
Is there
now?
just one?
Would that be okay? It's just,
I appreciate that, because
if you do me a favor, if you go over the
Right.
microphone and Tell us who you are and your address, please.
Juanita Schutz at 170 Reynolds Avenue here in the city of Meadville. I'm here on behalf of my neighborhood, and two of my neighbors have graciously come, and I apologize for being late. I was under the impression the meeting started at 6:15, so I apologize for walking in on Dr. Dixon. I had the privilege of working with her at the junior high in Meadville as an educator, evidence fighter, and she was beyond excellent, always. So I'll just, I went through the neighborhood and we signed a petition, and I offer pictures as evidence, so I'll just read that and get out of your hair. We, the undersigned, as property owners and residents of Reynolds Avenue and Lord Street, Meadville, Pennsylvania, do hereby respectfully request immediate corrective action to be taken by the appropriate municipal authorities of the city of Meadville against the property owners of 173 Reynolds Avenue and 181-183 Reynolds Avenue in regard to the deplorable conditions of the exterior of both structures. The lack of upkeep to both residences in the past 2 years severely affects the values of our homes, the security of our neighborhood, and the overall desirability of our community. And I have their signatures, so whoever.
If you don't mind giving that to Katie, I'd appreciate that. And you have pictures?
I do.
Could I take a look at them?
This is 173, it's a duplex. That's two sides of it, and this is 181, if the numbers are on the back, and 183, and this is 173 Reynolds.
Are they occupied?
The duplex is by renters. The Reynolds Avenue home, it has been unoccupied. It will be coming up on 2 years this October, to the best of my recollection.
First of all, we appreciate you coming in, because I understand you have a beautiful home on the corner and you all take good care of it. So can we,
So, Your Honor, I had exchanged some emails with Dr. Lobella when I was on vacation, and I've got all the sticky notes of the notes that I took from my staff to follow up with Dr. Lobella that I've not done yet in terms of enforcement action. Gary, you can, if you have a brief update.
Regarding 173 Reynolds, there was a broken window in the garage door, and there was approaching, if not to, the high grass state. Property maintenance inspector has been over and has issued appropriate notice to get those things fixed. With the other one, it's a little more complicated. There's more issues there. There's a junk van in the driveway, which the time frame on that should be up fairly soon to have that removed or properly licensed and inspected. There's significant amount of missing paint. It's half painted, and there's an order out on that to have it painted or sided or otherwise protective surface applied. I think there was also a broken or missing basement window that we had the inspector follow up on as well. I'm not sure of the status of that one in particular, but I know that we'd asked him to go over and check it out.
are these properties owned locally, or are these absentee landlords?
Local,
Local.
semi-local, Crawford County.
173 is owned by an Elizabeth Petruso, and 181, 183 is owned by a Robert Petruso.
Gary, when you were inspecting this property, did you happen to find a store of street bricks hidden in the back?
No, we can't go on the properties. I'm not sure if we can see them. I didn't inspect it myself, but
The
we
one
can-
neighbor, Sandy, who lives just beyond, she said you could walk down her property, and she said she did not see those bricks taken at the time of the repair of Lord Street, but she knows where they're stacked.
All right, thank you.
How
And
long have these people left in one side?
it'll be coming up on 2 years. I believe they left around October.
There used to be a well-maintained.
Yes, it was. At the gray home though, the paint has been in that condition. Last time it was painted was 15 years ago, the previous owner, when I first moved there. And then last fall in October, they power washed it. But the paint had been coming off, and so now it looks like that. But we've been waiting about 5 years or more for something to happen to that home.
So Gary,
kinda-
I got a question I want to ask you. So if we know this is a violation, have we started the process on these two properties? And how long what's the time frame we've been into this?
Depends on the violation.
Okay.
So with paint, given the considerable expense and time that can be involved, we give 365 days for
Okay.
paint, or for when it's whole house paint. If it's just a little here and there, we give 25 days generally, or the other violations. So the boarded window. The junk vehicle is 60 days. Try to give time, sometimes there's title issues with that. But generally, everything else is 25 days, other than the grass and the refuse, which are 5 days.
Okay, once you, and they can be cited for that after that time period, after the 25 days?
Generally, it's yeah, we send a notice of violation indicating that they're in violation, they need to get corrected within that time frame. Generally, we go to court, and typically with things like grass and junk, we'll also abate. We'll actually mow the grass and.
So charges can be filed on the 26th day then? Is that what you're saying? Am I understanding that right?
For those with 25-day notices, yes.
Can they be cited every day after that 26 days in violation?
They could, but when we go to court, the judge may be reticent to do that on first-time offenders or second-time offenders to actually fine them every day, but
But you can do that?
you can, and the violation is up to $1,000 per day per
These
penalty.
people have the same last name. Are they related? Or
I don't personally know that. I know that they have the same last name, but I
do they
don't.
own other properties? Do they have any
Yes.
other properties that are in this
Yes.
kind of condition?
Similar, yes.
So my whole point in this, on the 26th day, you can cite them for that first violation.
Yes, sir.
And we can cite every day after that day. And the judge or the court will make the determination if they uphold that or not. But we can do that.
We can do that, but generally when we issue a citation, we wait until the hearing and see what the disposition of the first citation is, to see what the fine is, and then if it again isn't taken care of after that, if it's a repeat habitual offender, then we would maybe take that route, ask for maximum fines, things like that.
Does that go through the magistrate or does it go through the courthouse?
Judge Pendolino.
So it goes to the magistrate here in Meadville. So he has the right to determine if he wants to cite from that day forward. But we have not give him that option. We just give him the one option after the 26th on one citation.
Generally with first and second time offenders, it would take an inordinate amount of time for it's kind of a pain to fill out the citations.
I'm sure it is.
And we'd rather see what the judge says and just go with with the one citation, ask for more, ask for a higher fine if we feel it's.
So is this the first time we've cited this person on this property?
We've had previous notices, I'm not aware of citations.
There's been many notices on it as far as actual.
Then maybe we better start writing out the citations every day to get someone's attention.
Well, they
let
need
the
to-
court decide if they want to do under one site. I know it's work, but
So
you're not getting their attention this way, so let's get their attention another way.
Right, it needs to get to into penalty at that point, though. It needs to get past the time frame, and most of the time, at least with the ones that have been issued in the past, it appears that they've taken care of the problem in that time frame, so it hadn't gotten a citation.
Okay.
My
But-
guess is he knows the name.
I'm going to say.
The judge will know the name.
Yes. Yeah.
So it should be handled once it gets there, I would think.
I'm just trying to figure a way to get people's attention that you don't go 5 years with this.
Sure.
There are literally hundreds of properties in this state.
Yeah.
I mean, so this begs a larger discussion with council of the resources for property maintenance. I mean, we occasionally have those, right? But we essentially have 2 part-time guys who cover the entire city, includes, high grass and other notices, snow removal in the winter. I mean, we've definitely, council's aware, we moved those inspectors into the city building and restructured the management of them just a few months ago with intent to better organize and align our efforts, so.
What was your report that we had a couple months ago? There was 1,000 unoccupied properties, apartments.
2,000, I think.
Was a big number.
Unoccupied.
I don't recall, John.
I mean, I can understand if somebody has financial difficulties to be a little bit
Well,
more
that's,
lenient.
I suspect that this one was a bankruptcy, or a foreclosure.
I think so.
This had to be, because
And-
I think I sold.
Yeah,
I think to
and
the
not
professor,
to-
there was a professor that lived in that house.
And not to,
Yeah.
Mr. Charapovich has been by since we spoke to him, and a gentleman came and did prune some, but if I didn't bring my phone in, but if I showed you a picture of the home about what he pruned out front, it would hurry you to see a difference. Then they went in the back and did, I don't know what, because.
But I think a young couple bought that, or a girl, and she must have lost it at a foreclosure, and then these people bought it? Is that what happened?
The Jeannie,
I think Professor Sycophus sold it to the lady whose name is now listed as the owner. And
Oh.
then it free fell.
Doesn't look, yeah, she's not living in it, obviously.
No, they moved out, it'll be 2 years this October.
Yeah, that's what I said, she probably lost it.
I
So,
think so.
so what's the next procedure that we're gonna be doing?
As the timeframes come up, then Nick will go, if the violation still exists, then Nick will proceed with citations in court.
Citations, what, 15 days? They have 15 days to answer the
I
citation?
think it's 10 days.
Well, you may not even be able to get the listed owner. Probably is some shadow bank somewhere.
No, it's local.
That's
Do you know where she is?
We know who they are, yes.
Oh,
They're
okay.
local, that's why I wanted to check and see if they were absentee or...
Well, I'm just wondering if it was foreclosed or something with them.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But-
The gas company redid all of our lines last summer, and they put the meter on the 173 home one day, and straight across from my home. And then the very next day, they came and took it back off.
That's a foreclosure. I'm sure.
No.
I'm
So
sure
there's
she
no
lost.
meter on it.
So game plan. We're gonna wait the time frame.
Yep, as the timeframe comes up, then we'll issue citations and see what the judge wants to do.
Okay.
Mr. LaBelle, there's other police activity at the 181, 183 activity. Our police department has been there several times, and so that's another concern. They appear to be operating a lawn service business, and there's a trailer and equipment parked outside that generates noise, and there are many issues to tackle.
Frequent fires. I've had on one occasion to put it out because I had pneumonia this year. I cannot have
Frequent
all
what,
this-
fires?
Yes, illegal
Campfires,
fires.
and they're not burning.
And
they're burning
one
out.
time I extinguished one, and other times I called the fire department and they put them out. And this has happened at least 3 times in the past few months. I mean, there would be records of it in the fire department. Police cars coming on 3 occasions in the month of July, once with 4 cruisers, once with 3 cruisers, and once with 2 cruisers, so there's an improvement. Then every morning, it's a depot for a member of the Petruso family who owns some lawn care business. There's trucks with vans, trailers holding yard equipment, and they come there every morning and pick them up and go and then bring them back. One time I had to go out at 5:30 in the morning because they were revving the engines. They couldn't get some of the stuff to start. And, I mean, it's unbearable. It's not for me alone. There are other people, I don't know how many signatures finally ought to be found here, but the lives of decent people are being just destroyed by 1 or 2 slum landlords. And if nothing is done, if there's only an excuse to let it go on and on and on, then, I mean, what is one to think? So I'm asking you, I understand there are hundreds, as the city manager mentioned, of properties, but I only know one intimately. In fact, a member of the council was the person who was a realtor and sold me the house, and I've always blessed it as a wise decision, but as I approach the end of life, I'm beginning to think whether I made a colossal mistake to stay here, given the situation I have to live with on a daily basis. This morning I had to go out and clean all the garbage and the gutters because they throw things out and it all blows across the street to me. So if I don't clean it then, tomorrow it would be worse, all scattered. If there's paper, they'll just mow it over if they do mow. I mean, I could just go on for a long time, more than it's worth. But I ask you to do something, otherwise it'll be too late. You'll be losing productive citizens who won't take a second chance because this is their whole livelihood to buy a property there. Some of the houses are beautiful. One of them won the Garden Award. I mean, what are we doing, allowing decent people to their lives destroyed for the benefit of some slum landlords that are just making fools of all of us? I mean, it has to stop. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for keeping your property up. Your properties are always looking very nice. I know how much you guys work on those. I drive past it almost every day. So, Gary, keep on it. someone will be in touch with you to let you know what's going on,
We
okay?
appreciate your time. I'm playing in a concert that was supposed to be at the Diamond, but the weather was so iffy, so I apologize for walking out, but need to get to that venue.
Oh, no problem.
We're back to it.
All right,
Thank you very
We
much.
will work on it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to do it at Nash High School, so if you get done by 7.
Well, unfortunately, what happens in a lot of these cases is you have one house, and then you get 2 houses, and then pretty soon the whole street is deteriorated. So, you know, people get discouraged, just like these people do, because there seems to be nothing that happens. And
Well, it sounds like this one's in process, so.
I mean, it's no different in any other township. You know, we have battles going on all the time in one township or another, or city, you know, that people just don't take care of their property. And it's very difficult for the municipalities to deal with it. We just don't, you know, none of them have the resources that
Well,
they
we
need.
set the fines.
Hmm?
That's the only thing we can do is the fines, right?
No,
We establish the range and then it's up to the judge.
Yeah.
You know, within statutory bounds, it's up to the judge as far as what he penalizes.
have we ever taken any property and cited them day after day to get their
Every
attention?
day?
Yeah,
Not in the last several years that I know of.
that's just because we don't have the manpower.
I'd have to ask Chief. I'm not sure.
I think last winter we had one situation where we went to court and we ended up in the court of common pleas on a number of citations with one property. So it has happened where they stack up. It might not be every day, but it's repetitive.
Well, my
So
whole
it's looking
thinking,
at a lot of fines.
let's get their attention. I mean, the fines, if the magistrate says that, he has the ability to
Now,
maximum every one of those citations.
is that levied as a judgment, or is that an actual fine?
Fine.
It's a
You
fine.
go to jail if you don't pay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure we're giving you the tools that you guys need to get the job done. If we're not, then we need to know that. And if you tell me you need help-
Full-time employees.
I've talked to the
They'll be
manager a
fine
couple
enough,
times about
maybe
it.
we can get you.
Yeah, if you find them every day, I'm sure we can make the payroll. I'm sure there's enough property out there.
I suspect.
Just do me a favor,
if
make
they have
sure,
one, they have more than one. And I suspect the magistrate, usually, but, you know, when we go in front of the magistrate generally has heard the name before.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I have interest in meeting with some of these landlords individually. I mean, there's,
Yeah.
in many cases, there's not a good reason that they're not being maintained properly.
Right.
There just isn't. It's just not acceptable.
we talked about this, bringing the landlords in and speaking. Maybe, I know we've had a really busy summer with everything going on, but let's make that kind of arrangement in the fall, where we actually have the landlords come to us and they talk to us, see what we need to do to help them to get the problems taken care of.
Unfortunately, to bring, the one thing I hear is, you know, don't blame us all for a
Right.
select few. So the answer might be for those landlords that are disobeying to be brought in.
Could do that.
It's a lot easier to buy those properties than to take care of them,
Yeah.
you know.
And you can buy them for what, a couple thousand when they go on
I know,
the
you
tax
can.
sale.
You know, I mean, you may pay a reasonable price for it, but rental properties require a certain amount of maintenance, and it's hard to do if you got another job, another business.
Well, apparently it's been going on long enough, the neighbors got the petitions, and these are neighbors that really do keep up their property and take respect in the city, so.
Yeah.
Just do me a favor, keep up, and since they came to us, would you give a council update so we know? Thank you, sir. Any other comments or questions? Okay, managers report, Andy?
Just an update on a few various lists of projects and topics. Thunder in the City is the next large public event to happen downtown, coming up on August 2nd and 3rd, Friday, August 2nd and August 3rd. Starting downtown Friday night on Chestnut Street with bands and live music and other vendors, and then Saturday, including Diamond Park. Mayor Stearns and I last week had the opportunity to visit with Hillary Link, the new president of Allegheny College. We were invited up to meet with her and to just make early introductions. We spent probably 45 minutes to an hour with her. And Your Honor, I think you said you'd like to invite her to a council meeting to make a more public introduction, and we'll work on that.
Yeah. That way council has the opportunity to meet her. Very, very impressed, very looking forward to working with her.
Councilwoman Angela Bittner is aware that tomorrow is a planned power outage in the Hillcrest neighborhood. They've notified all of their residents, so that's and may affect some others on Washington Street. We were initially concerned that the traffic signal in Washington and Hickory Route 77 might be impacted, but we don't believe that to be the case, but we're prepared if it is included.
How long it's gonna be out?
8 to 2:30.
Yeah, the planned outage is from 8 to 2:30.
This is like record.
But that's on Thursday on one side of Hillcrest, and then Friday, 8 to 2:30 is the left side of Hillcrest.
Couldn't pick a cool day, I guess.
Yes.
We're just grateful that they're coming. The work needs done. There's a lot of tree branches around the electric lines, and that we've been trying to get them up there for years, so we're thankful they're coming. It's unfortunate. But we'll be up and around the neighborhood with water and helping the people, so that's fine.
Council is probably aware, some of you more intimately than others, just getting phone calls. The Water Authority has experienced 2 or 3 significant water main breaks in the last week or two. The most recent was this past Saturday morning, I think, on Park Avenue, about Park Avenue and Pine, near Park and Pine. And there's tomorrow morning, our crews, in cooperation with Mahwah crews, will actually do another more temporary repair. The final repair will be done next Thursday and Friday, weather permitting, by an outside contractor. It's the road base, it's significant excavation, repairing the road base, and then paving that is necessary. When the final repair is done next week, that block at Park Avenue will be closed probably for 2 days to accommodate that work. There are other patches on Water Street and in 2 different locations on Water Street that we're coordinating with the Water Authority as well. They're essentially their financial responsibility of the Water Authority. The one, we might be able to work with them to change order our paving contract and have our paving contractor do the work for them, and then we would bill the authority. So we're still working to coordinate that. I believe it was our last meeting that we were discussing a proposed stormwater project on Benson Avenue to take care of sump pump discharges that have been causing damage to the street in freezing and thawing conditions. Councilman Battaglia will probably be happy to hear that because of the water conflicts with other utilities, particularly water main, we're gonna have much smaller pipe on the east side of the street. We're still getting quotes from that, but we're gonna be able to address the sump discharges with a pipe that'll go between the curb and the sidewalk in most cases, have the most limited disruption and repair work. Probably less than $20,000. We're still getting competitive quotes from others on that, so we'll be continuing to work on that project ahead of paving. We had also discussed the condition of the Doty Road culvert, stormwater culvert, in our last meeting. Doty Road remains closed. Council's aware we have sent survey to the neighborhood, the neighbors in that area of Laird, Warren, Russell, to gather feedback and information on that in preparation for the Planning Commission to have further consideration and discussion about the possibility of a permanent closure of that portion of Doty Road. Paving, obviously we've got lots of projects going on, curb projects, and Lindy Paving, our paving contractor, will begin to mobilize, I think, as soon as next week. I'm still waiting, and probably in the next day or 2 I'll have a final paving schedule, or at least proposed paving schedule, weather permitting, that I'll share with council, and that we can push information out either via press release or our Facebook page. So that phase will begin as well.
I was just wondering, on like Allegheny Street, they've put up the new curbs.
Right.
Is it wider, or is it just that I see it as wider because now there's a curb that sticks up above the ground? And
yeah, no, we really haven't widened. If so, it's in nominal in locations, and we don't have much more right of way to play
impressive
with.
that they're doing this that quick.
Yeah, they can make quick work of that work.
Is that Lindy up there too? Because I see
I
them all over town.
Yes, yeah. Lemmy has the majority of the curb work.
They're fast. They're in and out.
And then the next week, we're actually doing the curbing in front of the courthouse in Diamond Park, and that will begin next week as well. Actually, no, I believe that begins tomorrow.
The equipment's sitting there right now when I came by.
Yep. So lots of work going on. I think that's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
HP Wade Park.
Yeah, I was just up there today.
Contractors mobilized, you see equipment there, you see initial
Really
excavation.
going at it already, yes.
Yep. So I don't know if you have any further timeline or anything to add there. Did you attend the I guess it was a pre-construction meeting. I don't know if you were in attendance at that, but.
Yeah, probably 6 to 8 weeks, it should be done, fairly quick.
Your Honor.
Council, any questions for Andy?
No?
Okay. Communications, Katie?
Council, we received a letter from David Miller with Fair Districts PA dated July 11th of 2019. Dear City Council members, I am a volunteer with Fair Districts PA, a statewide initiative to pass legislation that would change the process for drawing state and congressional districts in Pennsylvania. We are requesting the council to pass a resolution supporting an independent, nonpartisan Citizens Redistricting Commission, joining hundreds of other municipalities and urging our legislature to act on this critical issue. I request permission to speak to the proposed resolution at the August 21st council meeting. The change we ask you to support will replace the current redistricting done in secret by politicians for partisan gain, gerrymandering. It is our belief that such a commission like those now used in Michigan and other states will reduce partisan gerrymandering and the constantly ensuing court challenges while improving legislative representation for our city. The letter goes on to state the reasons for Fair Districts PA and why they think Meadville should participate.
Okay. Council, just so you know, I had a conversation with David, and I suggested to him that council gets a hard copy of the information that we would then take a look at it. However, I told him that if council wanted to meet with him, we'd probably do it on a study session, because if there was enough questions, you know, it could go into a longer period of time. In the televised meeting, we have so much going on. So he agreed that if we wanted to meet with him, that he would like to do that at a study session and not on the third meeting.
Your Honor, I did distribute, because Mr. Miller had, prior to this letter, had dropped off materials that I did distribute to your mailboxes. Yep, and a packet that is, if you hadn't picked up, that's in your mailbox.
Wasn't this on they were trying to get this on the docket last time?
Yeah, we talked.
I mean, there were people standing at the polls talking about it. I mean,
Oh,
Educating.
Oh, yeah, they were, that's right.
Yeah, they were educating.
It's been out there.
So I told him that we would get the hard copies, that each council member could look through it. If they had any questions, we could either talk with him at a study session, or we can call him individually if you had any questions. Okay. Any other comments on that? Old business? Nothing under old business. New business. Discussion approving posting links to the video of city council meetings. And who do I give this one to?
I'll just kick that off. So Armstrong Cable, who is here, has reached out, I think, after the June meeting, indicating that the recordings of our meetings they place on their based on a YouTube channel now. They're available publicly on their YouTube channel page, website. My question to council is whether or not you want to directly link to those meetings, to the recorded meetings from our website, and then either promote them, probably just promote them on our Facebook page.
It would probably be helpful for the community that they understand more of the actions that we're taking and understand local government. That they may not normally would get, because one may not have local cable, but may not have the time. So I have no problem putting it on Facebook. Anything that we can help educate the public on how local government works and our processes, I think would be good.
Are they accessible all the time?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you wouldn't have to wait until the meeting was on TV like we do now. I could just log in by the question.
That's correct. So yeah, I don't know.
That's a good idea.
I'm not sure how quickly they get turned around, ready, and posted on their YouTube channel.
How far back would we be going?
I've asked that question of Armstrong, actually, Kevin, prior to the meeting. You might not want to answer that question while he's recording said meeting, but I think it sounds that we could work with Armstrong on the length of that they're archived, that they don't necessarily have data limits, and those are things that we could work through with them.
So it's not our staff doing it, it'd be Armstrong having the ability to tap into our Facebook page.
No, we would simply, from our website, we would link to their
Oh,
YouTube
okay, just put a link to it.
page, to their website.
Okay, sounds
Is
great.
that a consensus of council to proceed in that direction?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Yep. Okay, discussion resolution, French Creek Heritage Entertainment District, multi-mold, corridor
No,
project.
I'll take it from you.
Yeah, hey, it's all yours.
Gary, can I give this to you though? Council, this was actually new to your agenda just today. You'll recall at the June meeting, we discussed sort of the general concept of, I think Council aware that Roger Wells and partners from the Economic Progress Alliance and other stakeholders have been working for some time planning for what we've been calling, has been called the French Creek Heritage Entertainment District. And we had approached council, Gary and I, seeking council's sort of support for staff to work on a grant application, a multimodal grant application to establish a walking path that would connect essentially Bicentennial Park towards Spring Street along the Bessemer Street corridor. Because there's lots of other, being a multimodal grant, there's other partners, Property Area Transportation Authority, the Economic Progress Alliance has been involved in planning. It was ultimately deemed best that the county planning office would proceed with the project planning, the application, that the Crawford County Commissioners would submit the application, become the grantee and the project manager. And the planning office has the staff capacity to do that, so I think that made a lot of sense. And so city staff has interfaced with them over the past 4 to 6 weeks in helping to prepare this information. So just today, we received a letter that appears in your packet, and you've probably not had a chance to read it, but just a quick summary. And then behind, there is a map in your packet, but also behind you then is projected on the screen are sort of 2 phases. And Gary, I don't know if you might need to.
Binoculars.
If I zoom in though, you're gonna lose some detail, but sort of plan phase 1 and phase 2 improvements.
Yeah, so this is really about phase 1, funding phase 1, which is about $1.7 million. And there's 2 major components to it behind you. The first is a side path, a multimodal side path. This is Bessemer Street here. The Voodoo facilities here. The EPA facility right in this area. There'd be start at the north end with a transit stop, like a little bus shelter essentially, think of that. And it would run with a side path down the side of Bessemer Street down to Mead. Along there would be trees. There would also be lighting, city-style lighting along there to light the path. This would be for bikes, for walking, for pretty much whatever, non-motorized. Comes down to Mead Avenue here, where you would have probably a sign, with maybe a bench and a light, just like a little area as an interface with the Mead Avenue sidewalk. That's the one main component of it here. The other major component is Bicentennial Park, and this would be essentially an attempt to try to fund through this what we had tried to fund through DCNR funding, or recall that we transferred that to HP Way to make sure AP Way got done, HP Way got done. But what this would do, there would be a trail. It includes the trail that would run along Bicentennial, along French Creek. There would also be restoration of the riparian zone, work on the boat launch, parking area, and other lighting and vegetation. So there's 2 major components: is Bicentennial Park here, and then the side path here. There's also discussion, it references the future Heritage Learning Center hotel discussions that are ongoing, the Roger Willis Entertainment District project. And then it also references the former Meadville Farm and Garden, now owned by the French Creek Railroad Historical Society for Railroad Museum, to include just to show that it's becoming a hub of activity, essentially. The second component, or the second phase of this, if you will, if you could zoom out a little, references what we've talked about for a long time, this eventual connection of the south end of Bicentennial across the Seco Warwick property down to Mercer Street, and connection with the Ernst Trail itself, and then on the north end eventually continue the side path up to Spring Street Bridge, whatever this ends up being, whatever configuration it ends up being, which is also called State Bicycle Route Y, which includes Baldwin, Spring, Cussawagga roads. So in essence, taken as, it makes a stronger application to include both phases, and essentially would connect the Ernst Trail with Bicycle Route Y through the city here, along with a water trail hub at Bicentennial Park. Again, though, just to summarize, two components in this is the side path and the Bicentennial Park work. That's the bulk of it. And
So
again, it's
the
1.7.
trail coming over beside Seeker Warwick, what's that fall under, a third?
That's a second phase. That would be a future phase, a second phase of this entire project. Would not be under this funding.
So is there a railroad bridge involved in getting to Armstrong?
I think you use the Mercer Street Bridge.
Right now, it's Mercer Street Bridge. Yeah.
So when would you look at that second phase too? Because right now the bike trail is getting used a lot, and we want to try to get them down into Bicentennial Park. So, I mean, when we're talking quite a ways out, or you don't know?
Well, this phase one, if funded, would be constructed theoretically in 2022 to allow for permitting and design time. But as far as that, I mean, phase two could really, at least the south end could really be done independent of this.
Okay, that's
that. But
next question.
it's included to make the application stronger,
Okay.
to make those connections to other, the
So it doesn't mean
trail.
that we can't finish that trail from
Correct.
Seco over to the, and that's a temporary bridge there, correct?
What?
It's permanent now, I think.
Is that, it was a temporary bridge?
Yes, it was.
But now it's permanent.
One bridge.
There's a small bridge that they have
On Poplar Street.
right here that goes down to Bicentennial Park. When they were doing all the work on Mead Avenue, they had to put that temporary bridge
That's
in.
closed now, isn't it?
We don't, it's
Closed to public. or-
Yeah, it's not open to through traffic, but it is
Can you walk across it?
yes,
Bicycle?
you could, yeah.
So that would bring the trail into
Yeah.
Bicentennial Park.
Is there a local match required for this?
There's not. So the request from the county today, and why why we're discussing it at this evening's meeting, the application is due at the end of the month here. But the second page of the county's letter reads, as part of the grant application, the county is requesting a letter of consent as the majority of the improvements proposed are located within the city of Meadville's right-of-way or within Bicentennial Park. Additionally, we are seeking a letter from the city identifying the project's consistency with the city's long-range comprehensive planning efforts to include in our submission. So that's where we've now prepared the resolution. And Katie, you want Katie to read the resolution?
If you would, Katie, please.
Resolved by the Council of the City of Meadville that whereas the Crawford County Commissioners will apply to the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Financing Authority for approximately $1.8 million in grant funding to develop a multimodal corridor as part of the French Creek Heritage and Entertainment District Initiative. And whereas a majority of the proposed improvements contemplated in the French Creek Heritage and Entertainment District Multimodal Corridor Project are located in the City of Meadville's Bicentennial Park or within the city's public right-of-way. And whereas the proposed improvements are consistent with the City of Meadville's 2013 Comprehensive Plan and the 2016 Comprehensive Recreation, Parks, and Open Space Plan. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Meadville supports the Crawford County Commissioners' application to the Commonwealth Financing Authority, thereby granting the city's permission to access and develop the improvements on city-owned property along or within the city right-of-way, and giving the city's consent to accept and maintain the contemplated improvements in Bicentennial Park and within the city's right-of-way upon completion of the French Creek Heritage and Entertainment District Multimodal Corridor Project.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We're really lucky. I mean, we're very fortunate. The county works really well with us. They've given us other grant monies for other projects down at Bicentennial Park. I think we all realize that, we want to try to get the Bicentennial Park and the French Creek corridor as a destination that has never really been focused on. So I'm fully supporting it. I don't have any other questions. Council, any
No.
questions? Roll call?
Roa?
Aye.
Donahue?
Aye.
Battaglia?
Aye.
Mangelo Bittner?
Aye.
Stearns?
Aye. Thank you. Then we have a resolution authorizing signature for settlement and release agreement. Andy? or I'm sorry, Katie, you,
Resolved by the Council of the City of Meadville that the attached agreement is hereby approved and adopted substantially in the form attached hereto, as and for a binding and effective agreement of the City of Meadville in accord with its terms. And the mayor, controller, and the city clerk are hereby authorized and directed to execute and to attest such copies of the attached agreement in the manner required by law as may be reasonably required for the purposes of the parties thereto. And this is authorized signatures, settlement and release agreement, City of Meadville and Christopher D. Gillingham.
motion please.
Also move.
Second,
Second, Your Honor.
discussion. Andy, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I'll just give a brief introduction, Your Honor, and then I'll pass it to Gary Elizio for further explanation. So this settlement and release agreement is an agreement to settle litigation between the city and Mr. Gillingham. It emanates from a 2013 Equal Opportunity Commission Charge of Discrimination with Americans with Disabilities Act that ultimately proceeded to a lawsuit in federal court for alleged violation of civil rights. And with that, I'll hand it to Gary to talk a little bit further.
Council, as Amy indicated, this relates to a matter which started a number of years ago. Litigation is a slow and expensive process. It took a long time for the parties to get to a settlement conference with the court where we were able to reach a resolution that both parties are willing to approve and then hopefully move on. There's three main components to the settlement agreement. There's a cash compensation component to Mr. Gillingham of $64,500. The city is paying his attorney as well because under the applicable statutes, that's something that's provided for under the federal discrimination statutes. And there's also a pension adjustment as it would relate to him retiring as if he were a captain, which is the position he had been demoted from by our former fire chief, which gave rise to the whole cause of action.
Any questions?
Council, I'll simply note that Mr. Gillingham has already affixed his signature to this agreement. And in terms of his employment, he actually retired in May of 2018 from a work-related injury that, so he is a retired employee, but was litigation still outstanding.
Any questions from council? Roll call.
Roa,
Aye.
Donahue,
Aye.
Battaglia,
Aye.
Mangelo Bittner, Stearns.
Aye. Glad we can move forward.
And I should have noted, Council, the settlement agreement does provide that the city is not admitting any liability with respect to this matter. It's approving this as a way to move on and settle the litigation.
Okay, let's move forward. We have a resolution recognizing Dale Lippett. Katie?
No, there's a decent.
Oh, sorry, skip one. Resolution accepting the deed to DEP building from the RDA. Katie?
A resolution of the City of Meadville to exercise its option to receive ownership of the real estate located at 230 Chestnut Street, Meadville, Pennsylvania, from the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Meadville and related structural reserve fund held by the city pursuant to the terms of a construction loan agreement dated April 1st, 1994.
Long time ago. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
I'll
Second,
second.
Your Honor.
Discussion. Andy?
Your Honor, this action is contemplated when the DEP building was originally constructed. It was essentially an economic development project, partnership between the Redevelopment Authority and the City of Meadville to retain the Northwest Regional Office of the DEP here at Meadville. At the time, the city extended staff support and financing towards that project, along with the city's redevelopment authority. We've enjoyed a long relationship as with the DEP as a tenant, and we hope it's important to keep them here in terms of their economic impact and their importance in downtown. That lease is coming up for renewal here in the next couple of years, 2021, I think, technically. We've begun some ongoing negotiations with them, or beginning negotiations for renewal. I think council's aware the building is now 25 years old. It's the original roof, the original HVAC system, the original control system. There are a number of issues that require significant investment or will require significant reinvestment as part of the lease negotiations. Without the redevelopment authority having staff and to have the tools necessary for financing. It's probably going to be necessary for those improvements to keep the DEP building, keep the DEP office here in Meadville. We think it's in our best interest for the city to take title to that building. And so hence this resolution for the city to accept the deed from the redevelopment authority. The redevelopment authority actually acted to convey the deed at their meeting last week. And it's structured in the resolution that is subject to a proper assignment of the lease agreement with DEP. So once the lease has been properly gone through the proper assignment process, it would, then we would transfer the title. And I'll let you add anything else, Gary.
All parties agree to this, the redevelopment authority board, the city, Department of General Services, DEP, everyone's aware of it. Everyone's aware that there's a significant amount of money that's gonna have to go into that building after the engineering is completed. It's quite complicated, and it'll be better managed, and the tenant is very receptive to it coming under city control.
How many employees does that hold in there? Do you guys know offhand?
We provide about 200, we're obligated to provide 200 parking spaces under the lease agreement. And I think current employment is probably about 180 on average.
That's important to keep in the city of Meadville. So, I think we're going in the right direction. Any questions from council?
And one other point, I don't know that I pointed it out, is that in the original construction financing, it was the transfer was contemplated, so that the city has had an option from the original financing to exercise its option to purchase the building for $1 from the redevelopment authority. So really, this was contemplated or conceived early on in the project's development.
It's actually been talked about for years among staff of when it might make sense to do this.
I think we owe Jim, Councilman Roa, thanks, because he was the one who actually brought that to our attention, and that's why it's in front of us today. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Page 2, on 4, I don't think we're talking about a party well. We're subject to a party well agreement and get
Are you
misspelled.
looking at the deed, John, or
The
the?
deed.
Yeah, the
Dude.
So-
Page 2 of 4, it says, it should be a wall.
it's a dormant easement, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, it's just referenced there for,
Yeah,
Future.
there's actually some, I'll check, John, to see if that was our typo or if it was, there's some language in the deed which we don't love, but it's an old deed, and we try to keep the legal description the
Oh.
same on purpose. So there's actually a couple other points that we went back and forth on whether we needed to include them, and ultimately we largely did include the ancient language from.
Interesting. My great-grandparents had a store on that property. Oh, it must be 150 years ago. They had a store and they lived above the store. They probably didn't own it, but they ran a business there where the DDP building is.
Any other comments? Again, Jim, thank you for bringing that to us. Roll call, please.
Roa?
Aye.
Donahue?
Aye.
Battaglia?
All right.
Mangela Bittner?
Aye.
Stearns?
Aye. Resolution now recognizing Dale Lips. Lips. Go ahead. Lips.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Meadville that whereas Dale Lips has served as a valued employee of the City of Meadville for 37 years, and whereas Mr. Lips began his career serving in the Public Works Department in 1982, and whereas Mr. Lips was promoted to labor foreman in 1993, and whereas Mr. Lips has performed all of the duties of his office with dedication, thoughtfulness, and efficiency, and whereas Mr. Lips is elected to retire from active employment with the City of Meadville effective May 31st, 2019. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Meadville that Public Works Labor Foreman Dale Lips is hereby commended for his many years of dedicated service to this community and its citizens.
Motion, please.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
second.
Discussion, Andy?
Just to note that Dale was one of our employees who loved to tear things apart, was a thrifty guy that would study things, would find some way to fix or find parts. Was a great asset to the city. Dale has had some battles and health issues, and he elected to accept the city's retirement window that the council had approved last spring, and his retirement was effective May 31st. And we wish him well.
We wish him well in retirement, and We're sorry that he is retiring.
Yes.
I always enjoyed talking to Dale, and again, we wish him a happy retirement and a healthy retirement. Comments? Roll call?
Roa,
Aye?
Donahue,
Aye.
Battaglia,
Aye.
Mangela Bittner,
Aye.
Stearns.
Aye. Hey, we need to pop back up to D, because I did not see the "and" in here. And
I can just amend my motion to include the lease too, all
We
their
didn't-
signatures on the lease.
That's fine. It is in the resolution, so I think you're covered.
Okay.
Oh, it is covered? Okay.
Okay, good.
All right, just
Okay.
want to make sure we do that correctly. We are recognizing Jeff Briggs
Briggs.
upon his retirement.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Meadville that whereas Jeff Briggs has served as a valued employee of the City of Meadville for 32 years, and whereas Mr. Briggs began his career serving in the wastewater division as a driver laborer in 1987, and whereas Mr. Briggs was promoted to wastewater operator 1 in 1988 and to labor foreman in 1993, and whereas Mr. Briggs has performed all the duties of his office with dedication, thoughtfulness, and efficiency, and whereas Mr. Briggs has elected to retire from active employment with the City of Meadville effective May 2nd, 2019. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Meadville that wastewater division labor foreman Jeff Briggs is hereby commended for his many years of dedicated service to this community and its citizens.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Second, Your Honor.
Thank you. Andy?
So similar to Dale, Jeff was an invaluable employee. So Jeff was a City of Meadville employee, but assigned to the Meadville area water, to the sewer authority, and has spent his career in the sewer operations. Jeff was an invaluable resource to Frank in terms of his technical knowledge and of the equipment and the systems and the operations and his leadership down there, and he will be sorely missed. He also has been battling some health issues and chose to take advantage of the retirement window offered this spring, and he is missed as well.
Well, we wish him the best and also enjoy retirement. And council, any other comments?
Well, the city's been very fortunate to have so many phenomenal employees over the years.
And long time, long time.
Very, very fortunate.
I know he sure knew a lot about that sewer plant and infrastructure. I'd like to talk about it.
Oh, congratulate him and wish him well. Roll call?
Roa,
Aye.
Donahue,
Aye.
Battaglia,
Aye.
Mangela Bittner, Stearns.
Aye. Council, before we go to council member statements, I want to share with you, I don't know if this will be able to be caught on television, but if you're friends on my Facebook, I was looking through some, I received information on an apartment building. And in the apartment building, the exterior was really depleting and not looking well. And the gist of it is that the tenants got together and they actually painted the outside of the building as bookshelves and with the books on them. But the reason I'm saying this is that they all were book readers. They all chose a book, so the outside. But as I was looking at it, I happened to put zipper in. And I'll share with council, you haven't seen it yet. But
Oh, the street, yeah.
a crosswalk with a zipper in it. And I think it's really cool. So I put it on my Facebook and we got 80 likes on it with no dislikes.
I saw it on Facebook.
You saw it on Facebook.
How do they do that?
What'd you say?
Anyway,
You should go on and dislike it.
Katie's gonna dislike it.
I will unfriend you. No. So anyway, I was talking to Andy about it, and I would really like to do a test program on it. Andy and I had kind of talked about it, and what we'd end up doing is having Talon's name put across it, because Talon, of course, was well known worldwide for their zipper. We sent the zipper to the moon, or into space, I should say, not to the moon. But so what I'd like to do is I have an artist that was going to help me, and get a couple people together. And we thought we'd just test the program this year to see, one, how the snow removal will react, and also on traffic. And Andy and I thought about possibly, you notice I'm giving you credit for this, Andy, talking about putting it out in front of the city building, and also one across West Center Street, which is the Rue de Femme. and actually bringing the community and our two cities together. And as I was
want to buy that new apartment building you built under there.
well, we can put them anywhere.
By the
we want.
way, that's really moving along.
Is it?
Yeah, it's,
I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I'd like to try it at least temporary, see how it survives. I believe it's heat tape that we put down, Andy, is that?
Yeah, so yeah,
is that like the college has up there, or is that something more exotic
Somehow.
for the brick?
yeah, it's a similar we use what we call, I don't know if it's a proper, we call it heat tape. It's a heat
Thermoplastic.
Yeah, thermoplastic. It's a heat applied plastic sheet that gets melted down onto the asphalt. The application for the faux brick crosswalks of the college is a similar.
Yeah, they were doing something like that. They had a machine though, a
Yeah.
grid deal.
We do one occasionally. We do occasionally apply the thermoplast in certain locations. It's much longer lasting.
So I kind of like to try that, and the reason I'm saying this is because let's put our history on pavement. You know, we have the railroad museum coming down on the arterial. So
And
down
you
the lower part of
Some
Chestnut,
railroad ties in there.
down the lower part of Chestnut Street, you could actually put the crosswalk as railroad ties. So there's a lot of different things that we can look at, and we can get some nonprofits to help us, and maybe some businesses to back it.
Neat idea, Leroy.
Interesting. Why did you type in zipper?
I was bored, I'm
Oh.
retired now.
Interesting that you thought of that.
Yeah, well, it came from the
I wonder why they have it there.
yeah, I don't know.
Where
It's
is
pretty-
it?
I have no idea where this is at. I can tell you this, it's in cold weather because there's no leaves on the trees.
Oh,
So,
Mayor, I believe it's
looks like a
Baltimore.
parking garage.
what's that?
It's Baltimore.
Is it Baltimore? Oh, did you follow up on it? Did you really? Okay. So, council okay with us doing it?
Yeah, I'm curious what they had for.
Yeah, all right. I just want to make sure I don't go out there and do something without council knowing it. So Andy, start working on that one.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Make it so.
Make it so.
We watch the same television program. Council member statement. Sean, I'll start with you tonight.
On last Saturday, I went to second Saturday Night Live's concert down behind, it's in the Mill Run parking lot.
Huge
And,
turnout.
It was a huge turnout that I want to say. There was a lot of people
Really?
there.
Good.
It's the most I'd ever seen at those. The music was good, the weather was perfect, which really helped. And I was really impressed, and that made me think of Thursday nights. They're having music here in the park, and there's a really good turnout for that, and I have not made it to any of them. And then there's some local bands that I see all the time, and it's Go for Broke, Jack and Rick, and 50 Miles to Empty, and the Z Factor. They're all really good. If you get a chance to see them at a bar or wherever they might be, and the Davenport's has them, I know they do, and get a chance, they're good, they're worth going out to see. And it's supposed to be in the 90s next couple days, so stay inside if you can, or it's air conditioned, I guess.
John?
Looking forward to Thunder in the City. Got the car shined up, and hope the weather holds out.
Great. Nance?
Well, I once again thank Mr. Briggs and Mr. Lips for their many, many years of service. And again, I think it's commendable that I truly believe that Armenia-Dixon is the reason that we got that money. And it means a lot to this community, and it's nice to see the community get stuff like that. So pleased about that. It's nice to see good things happen.
Jim?
I'm going to take a couple minutes.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, your school tax bill is going to be coming out in a couple weeks. When you get that bill, take a look at the assessed value of your property, because they now have issued the current common level multiplier in Crawford County, which is 3.26. That's good news, because after 10 or 11 years of declining values, this multiplier has increased significantly over last year. When we talked in February, it was like 2.61. So take your assessed value, multiply it by 3.26. That resulting value is the basis on which your assessment is levied. It's not a market value, it's the basis. So for example, if your home is assessed at $25,000, you multiply 25,000 by 3.26, the adjusted basis would reflect an assumed value of $81,500. Using that example, if you know for certain that your home is only worth $60,000, it's probably worth your time to appeal your taxes. Tax burdens are pretty tough, especially in the city. Everybody wins. You save some money on taxes. Hopefully the municipalities have a lower delinquent rate of taxes, and when you're not paying money on taxes, you can actually afford to put more improvements in your home, so the community also wins. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you. Sean, to pick up kind of where you left off, I think the city's going to be a partner with the neighborhood center. Am I correct on that, Andy?
Well, the Meadville Neighborhood Center is going to have lunchtime, noon concerts on Fridays in August,
And I think we're a sponsor of that, or supporting that.
providing gazebo, yeah.
Where they have it?
We're going to have it over to gazebo, I think it's from what, 12 to 1 you said, Andy?
Yep, I think it's just the lunch hour, approximately 12 to 1.
That was done last year. Jay Bime and his wife were there, and Jeff Flags, I think, was the other performer that was there. And it's really kind of cool because people just come out and they have their lunch out there and they get to listen to the music and bring your chairs. We want you to enjoy the park, just be respectful of it. And with that, again, welcome to Meadville again.
Thank you very much.
Tomorrow, we're taking a trip. She's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
Niagara Falls.
Yeah?
Andy and I and Deb and
You're not
Michelle.
going to another ball game, are you?
No, I screwed that one up the last time. I'm gonna stick to the Niagara Falls. So we're looking forward to taking you up to Niagara Falls and having a great time. So thank you for being here. With that, I'll ask for an adjournment. Do we have an executive session?
Yes, Your Honor. For real estate, the proposed acquisition of blighted property, and potential legal action regarding delinquent stormwater fees.
Motion to adjourn, Your Honor.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Roa,
Aye.
Donahue,
Aye.
Battaglia,
Aye.
Mangelo Bittner,
Aye.
Stearns.
Aye. Adjourn.